This TSport 200 betting picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their Pick 8. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is loaded up with a ton of picks for the British Open. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. We're going trucking on a Friday night on the short track, Cody. I know that the other guys are playing on the big 2.5 mile track. Trucks are getting down and dirty on the IRP and Lucas Oil Raceway and having some fun on a Friday night like it should be.
Yeah, you really got to pay attention this week, Rod. We have 3 completely different races. It's all 3 series in action, but all 3 of them are bet on completely differently. We've obviously talked about the Cup Series already, racing on the regular Indianapolis Raceway, and then you've got Raceway, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Apologies, it's a hallowed place, Rod. Jesus. And then obviously we talked Xfinity Series yesterday. They're racing with the Super Speedway package, so that's kind of different. And then the Truck Series across town into into the small tracks. So here we are.
Indeed. Boji Joe talking about change the podcast source, guys.
Well,
hello, by the way.
We didn't, but
technically no.
Elon is a dick and doesn't allow you to stream to your X account now unless you're verified or you're premium or whatever the fuck. So that we are not. So make sure you subscribe to the SGPN Twitter feed, X feed, because we can stream to that one. So
or one more follow on Facebook and we can put it back up on Facebook.
Or one follow away from Facebook allowing us to get back on. So yeah, we can. And I noticed, NASCAR Betting Preview Show. I mean, they started on X and built that whole thing on X, and now they can't even stream on X, which is just completely stupid. We're lucky, obviously, we have the SGPN feed to be able to stream over on X, and then we'll just always repost it from our NASCAR gambling thing. But yeah, Elon just being a dick to be a dick, Rod.
Or he just wants more money, and what billionaire doesn't want?
Again, being a dick to be a dick.
I'm saying. Speaking of the Sports Gambling Podcast, they're getting you ready for the college football with their conference previews. So make sure you go tune in over there for all your college football needs. You can find that anywhere you get your podcast, or of course, as always, the SGPN app, where if you're listening to this podcast, you don't care where we stream live. You just want to get us wherever you can. So make sure you download that SGPN app if that's what you want to do to find us and the Sports Gambling Podcast for sure. But yes, of course, we are still plowing through it no matter where we're at. We want to bring you this content because it's truck night in America tomorrow night, having some fun watching this. This Indy weekend, like we said, is the last weekend before that 2-week break that they're going to take for the Olympics. So everybody gets to catch their breath, up to and including us. Cody, we're gonna have some episodes put out over the course of the next couple of weeks. However, they may not be live and they may not be at
least next week, right? So next week, for scheduling reasons, next week I'm gone on family vacation, taking the fam out. Rod's going to do some stuff with his family. So we've already put some stuff in the can. Those will just be available on your feeds throughout the week. A couple of silly season things going over all the changes that we know of so far. We're about to add another one, which we sort of touched on anyways. And then the following week, though, I think we'll hopefully be back for a full week of shows with just straight future talk, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then the week after that, we'll start prepping for, I think, is it Michigan the first race after, or Richmond? I don't remember.
I'm not thinking that far ahead.
On vacations next week, I'm not looking much past that, Rod.
Not even close. I'm necessary. We're getting through the rest of this week, and then we're going to figure out what happens from beyond that for sure. But yeah, again, we're just, like I said, we're happy to get through this week. We're happy to have some fun with you to close out the week. We'll have this one. We'll have the DFS episode coming out tomorrow as well. But you know what? Listen, I don't know if she's watching right now because she tends to like to watch these shows. But if my youngest is watching right now, happy birthday to my youngest. She turns 14 today. So I'm not even like I don't know what happens. Like,
happy birthday, kiddo. Hope you have a great day. Make sure Dad spoils you when we're done here. Thanks for sharing him with me on your birthday.
Hey,
I appreciate it.
Guess where we're going? Guess where we're going, by the way?
Applebee's.
Is it a Villagomez special event if it's not at Applebee's?
That's great.
She picked it. And I'm ordered to get a shark bowl because she likes to watch, and she wants the gummy sharks out of my shark bowl. So I always think that's funny that's the request. So
that's great.
Yeah,
Laura says happy birthday to her.
Oh, Laura says happy birthday too.
She's checking in, and Jessica.
Jessica, happy birthday.
Jessica with the hey guys and the happy birthday. Boji Joe gets the Ponderosa. Applebee's steak is as fancy as Rod gets. So
Ponderosa, I have not had that in so very long. It's have you ever had Ponderosa, Cody?
I don't think so. There's not really any. I don't think there's any anywhere around here. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't know that I've ever had it.
Yeah, I have such memories of going there to those because it's a buffet and it's like hail and farewell.
What's a buffet? Those seem to no longer exist.
Well, good ones don't seem to exist anymore.
All right. At least
speaking of buffets, we're loading up the menu for you with all of those.
Oh, what a transition, Rod. Jeez.
I feel like I talk so much that if I don't get these things right, then there's no business for me doing this. But thanks everybody for joining us in the chat today. We love to see you there. But yeah, Truck Series race. It's the short track here at the Lucas Oil Raceway. And look, this one in particular is one that the trucks have only been on for a couple of seasons too. So when we talk about coming to Indy, right? I mean, a lot of these guys are pretty much, they're all coming here for the first time in a while. These truck drivers, especially, they haven't had this extensive track history, with the exception of a couple of them, Cody. There's some old guys out there that raced this park clean back when they were a kid. So we'll maybe lean heavy on that. We maybe not, but we'll look at short tracks from this season. We'll look at short tracks from the past and kind of weigh our options there. This one's a little easier to handicap than maybe the last couple that we did.
Or at least that's what we hope, right?
Nice. Well, listen, and not just that, Cody, but like the books have made it difficult to pick some stuff because they're not giving us a lot of options this week.
I will say, I think this has been one of the easier weeks to pick things for the Truck Series. I mean,
is it because there's not a lot of options or what?
Well, yeah, but I think we should at least be used to not a lot of options for the Truck Series. Like, it seems like this is kind of what we get, but I don't know. I did not have any problem filling out the card this week. I found a decent amount of things that I actually really liked.
Yeah, I actually did find some good stuff that I liked too. I just wish there was more because I feel like, and honestly too, when we look back at what the trucks have done this season, it's a lot of the same names. I mean, it's not really difficult to pick some of these guys because.
Well, Rod, let's. I had a fun fact that I was going to share in a little bit, but since you brought
please.
it up, let's do it right now. Trey Ryan, over on the X at Trey Ryan 99. He's like NASCAR stat guy. Has all these crazy fun stats. Corey Heim and Christian Eckes have combined to lead over 51% of all possible laps in the 2024 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. This is on track to be the most dominant Truck Series season by two drivers since 1996, the second year of the season. You have to think 51%, but it's almost like it feels like it's more, right? But don't forget, Kyle Busch has done a lot of these races. We've had other people in this series as well. Obviously, Majeski's led his fair share of laps. You had Sanchez and Chastain and Carruth. They've all there, but 51% between two guys. And we're pretty far into the season, Rod. We're actually so far into the season that there's only 2 races left before the Truck Series playoffs. This one, and then when we come back at Richmond, which means that this is the final race of the season that Cup Series guys can start, because they are not allowed in the season finale. They're not allowed in the playoffs. So this will be the final race of the season that we have any Cup guys in there due to that.
That's so crazy to think. I mean, you know, and we don't have any in there. We'll get to the entry list here in a second, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy that this is the last one and we're not seeing any. Obviously, it's a discipline. But...
You're gonna give one out in a little bit, Rod. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey Cody, look, you got news to talk about.
I have news and then a few more notes from the shocking news file I have over here. It's not shocking. That's why that's funny. Cole Custer will announce his 2025 plans on Saturday morning in Indianapolis. The media alert has the Haas logo on it. He is the favorite to land the Cup Series ride with the Haas factory team. Gene Haas is keeping one of the 4 SHR charters. I would just like to say that when you're listening next week and we say that it's likely that Cole Custer is going to go into that car, we've already recorded that episode. So, but yeah, I mean, so he'll have an announcement on Saturday to announce his 2025 plans. Likely it's going to be a Haas Cup Series ride. I would not be shocked, Rod, to see the 0 or 00 make a return to the Cup Series. I think that would be a good way to go. Otherwise, we'll see. Maybe they just keep the 41 because that's the car he drove before. I don't know. But 0 was the 0. I think he used 0 and 00 before Tony came around. Obviously, Cole's been the 00 in Xfinity before and once again this time. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that be the number if they even announce that. But that is the news for today. A couple of other notes that I think are very important, especially if you're going to bet on either of these guys. You're probably not going to bet on Ty Dillon, but Dawson Sutton will be on hand at IRP. So there's an issue because tomorrow, which is Friday, you've got all 3 series practicing, and you're going to have some really close to overlapping times. Now we're in the same city, but I don't think these tracks are super close to each other. So Dawson Sutton's going to be on hand for practice and qualifying if Ty Dillon cannot make it to the 25 truck, because he is in the Cup Series race in the 33 car for Richard Childress. So he'll be doing Cup Series practice. If he's not able to make it back for practice and qualifying for the trucks, Dawson Sutton will practice and qualify the car. If that happens, Ty Dillon will have to start at the back of the field because of a driver change. For DFS purposes, he'll be scored wherever Sutton were to qualify. Also, Rod, Caden Honeycutt will be on hand. This is somebody you might consider betting a little more. Caden Honeycutt will be on hand in case Ross Chastain cannot make it for the very same reason, because he's going to be in the 45 car, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. So if Chastain can't make it, then it's going to be Caden Honeycutt that will practice and qualify it. So same thing. You know, he might have to start at the very back of the field, short track. They're going to catch up to him quickly. That could be concerning. Now, Ross does plan on helicoptering over there instead of taking on traffic. So you would hope he makes it in time for qualifying. But again, it just kind of depends on how all that stuff works out.
I have zero interest in any sort of Ty Dillon anything. So that means little to nothing to me. But I will say, as far as Ross Chastain is concerned, yeah, if he does, he does need to helicopter, because I need him for one of my bets. The only bet that I want to put on something like that. I'll tell you that in a little bit. Boji Joe wants us to describe the track. I can't even say it, let alone describe it to you. But we'll describe it to you in a second, Boji Joe. This is what we call a teaser in the business. We'll give you all of that info, but first, let's tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Oh yeah, Underdog Fantasy. They launched their college football best ball product. First place wins $20,000 plus the higher or lower pick'em 8 allows you an opportunity to win 325 times your entry. You can now use specials and boosts too on all flexed entries. Cannot wait to make our pick 8 picks when we come back for our DFS episode. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it is gone. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code Race SGPN. Circa Survivor and Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Even better. And of course, Circa contests have no rake. Circa Millions, you pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week and compete for $6 million, or survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th. Use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. You don't have a book trip for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out, hang with Sean and Ryan, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through August the 24th. All right, Cody. So I promised before the break that we would give you, we'd give you the Lucas Oil Raceway breakdown. Do you have that with you?
Yeah. It is a 0.686 mile asphalt oval, 12-degree banking. So it's a short track, flatter, not completely flat, but it's a short track. I mean, this is like as true of a short track as we get. The closest thing that we've been to that you're going to get from this is North Wilkesboro, right? North Wilkesboro is 0.625 miles. 13 degree banking in the straights, so that's going to be very similar. It's similar in size to Bristol, but Bristol's a lot more banked. And it was, all-star race, where the all-star race was, but the trucks were not an all-star race. They had just had a traditional race. Martinsville is another one you can look at for sure because of the short track element, but not it's Martinsville's a lot flatter, right? Obviously, and the corners are tighter. This is more, and so like Richmond as well, similar-ish, but it's D-shaped, and this is like a true, this is just an oval. So it's very circular oval, I guess is a weird way to describe it, but it truly is. It doesn't have like that weird D shape. It's just a true oval short track.
Yeah, again, it's nothing special about this one. This is not one where you're going to be worried about any sort of tricky turns or anything. It's just
this should be fairly straightforward, right? I'm careful saying that with the Truck Series, but it should be pretty straightforward. And the things you're going to look at, we've had 2 races here since they came back to IRP. You're going to look at those, and right, it's been just 2, right? I think.
Yeah, it's been 2. Yeah, it's just 2.
And then I think short track performance this season, North Wilkesboro, Burtonsville, Bristol even, and some Richmond, if you want to throw it in there, are all going to be things for comparisons this year.
Indeed. It is the TSport 200. We are set for 200 laps around this, as Cody mentioned, 0.686 mile paved track for 137.200 miles. Moji Joe, I don't know if the hot dogs are good. They probably are if they're in Indianapolis, but I don't know. But
I mean, they're not going to be as good as Martinsville hot dogs, right? But
no.
And then he also says Corey Heim, call it a night, as Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friends. That might not be the case this week, and we're going to discuss that.
We'll talk about that. But who else is in this race besides those 2 drivers?
Yes, those 2 drivers are in this race. Really, that's about all that matters. No, just kidding. In the number 1 Tricon truck, William Sawalich makes his return. Marco Andretti is going to be back in the 4 truck for Roper Racing.
The 04 truck, Cody.
Yeah, it is the 04, isn't it? Interesting. I don't know that has Roper been even fielding trucks this year. I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that. But Sammy Smith is back in the 7 truck for Spire. We've seen him a couple of times this season. Surprise, Rod. The last couple of times we saw him, he was the heavy favorite to win, and he's not this week. I wonder why that is. It's like we faded him last time. Hattori Enterprises makes their return to the Truck Series. First time they're fielding a truck this year, and is with Johnny Sauter, which is interesting pairing there, but that is the case. Nice Motorsports breaking out that 4th truck. Connor Daly is going to be in that. Talked about him racing in the Xfinity Series race, and had some bets on him there. I don't feel the same way about him in this race. I will go ahead and say that now. Ross Chastain also in a Nice truck. He's back in the 45 for his final Truck Series start of the season. Luke Fenhouse is back in the 66 for Thor Sports, and everybody's favorite Jack Wood back in the 91 truck.
fan favorite, Jack Wood, Boji Joe. Jack Tripper is their backup for the Roper truck. Come on, knock on my door. Someone's waiting for you. That's why you tune into this, because nowhere else you're going to get a Three's Company reference.
I'm also glad that you told me what that reference was too. So thank you. Because I was just going along with it.
Yeah, you were. See, this is what makes you a good sport after 460 episodes.
Boji Joe says that X keeps dumping. The X streaming thing has been weird. I noticed that before too. So just go over to the YouTube page,
go to YouTube.
And if you want to watch live, you shouldn't have any problems over there.
Yeah, you should not, for sure. All right, so that is the setup for this race. Obviously, like we said, this is going to be a hopefully straightforward short track race. I feel like it is high time to start getting into, not Heim time.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounded close to Heim time, Rob.
High time that we start getting to these bets. But let's do this first. I'll tell you about Rhythm. Your British Open. I'm sorry, the Open is this week. And if you're not checking out the AI picks and props from Rhythm, you're missing out. Not just outright winners. They also got top 5, top 10s, and top 20s. Use their AI caddy to get some great data insights. You can even customize your own golf bets using Rhythm's tools. So claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right. I got it right this time, didn't I?
You had to check out, but you did get it right. Yes. The
Perfect.
Open. They don't like the British. They're just the Open. They think that they're special.
They need to change their company name or their country name.
Their company name.
Whatever. I don't care. Love it. All right, Cody.
All right, Rod.
This is a Thursday show that feels like a Friday right off the jump. I'm going to tell you that right now.
That break is looming very closely ahead of us. So, all right.
I feel like we're sort of coasting in, right? This is the last 4 or 5 laps, and we're just praying to God that gas light hangs on. We don't have to flip the switch in the middle of the show.
Was it Mark Martin that came down pit road a lap early or something? I'll have to look and find it. There is a race where, a guy, and we had one a couple of years ago where it happened again, where somebody thought it was over and they got to get on the radio and they're like, no, it's not over. Keep going. But anyways, all right, Rod, you might be wondering, is it Heim time? It's usually Heim time. We're going to start with this first bet with Corey Heim involved. But Rod, I'm going to go against Corey Heim. Cue the audible gasps. What is going on here? Here's the deal. They got Christian Eckes versus Corey Heim plus 150. Corey Heim won at North Wilkesboro, the most recent track and probably most comparable track that we've been to. So I will toss that out there because Corey Heim is extremely fucking good, right? There's no hiding that. There's no arguing that. We understand who Corey Heim is, what Corey Heim's done, but there's been one person who's been able to hang with him this season, one person who's been able to beat him this season on a consistent basis, and that's Christian Eckes. You're putting these two guys head-to-head matched up at plus 150, and here's what I'm looking back on. You go back to where Christian Eckes on short tracks this season led 144 laps and won at Bristol. He led 133 laps and won at Martinsville. He also led 62 laps at North Wilkesboro before. I don't remember what the issue was, but he ended up not having a good finish that race. And then, Rod, he was also second place last season on this track, which I like a lot as well. Christian Eckes has 3 top 3 finishes in a row, 8 top 4 finishes this season. So could Corey Heim come out, start on the pole, lead every single lap, win this race, lap the entire field by 2 laps? Yes, absolutely he could. I'm not saying Corey Heim is going to have a bad day. I'm just saying these two guys are close enough that Christian Eckes can beat him any given Sunday or any given Friday in this case, right? So I think that at plus 150, this is worth it, most specifically because we're on the short track. Not that Heim is not good on short tracks. Won Martinsville last year beating Kyle Busch. Granted, they didn't race a lot because it was in the rain and windshield wipers and all kinds of stuff. And he just won at North Wilkesboro, so he can get it done. But I have a little more faith in Christian Eckes this week. I think he's being a little bit disrespected. I don't think this number should be this big for guys that basically run 1-2 every single week. It can go either way. We've seen it go either way. Eckes has his fair share of wins this season, and more of them have come on short tracks than anything. So Christian Eckes over Corey Heim plus 150.
And you're right. This is an absolute coin flip between these two, right? And plus 150 for either side of it is almost a steal because in some situations, I know, you get these head-to-heads and one person, and they're both like minus 115. Like I think the one I'm about to give out, they're both minus 115. That is a literal coin flip. That is what this should be. This should be somewhere closer to that. So if you're getting one side of this plus money.
Heim should probably be a little bit more of the favorite, but not plus 150 that much. So, yeah.
I do like this one. So, yeah, give me that because Heim can't do it every single week, can he? I mean, well, I don't know. I guess maybe he can, but we're gonna bet this week that maybe he can't. So, all right. Speaking of somebody that can't do it every single week, that is Stuart Friesen. We're gonna go back. Where's my O Canada? That's way back. You guys are so busy. I love this. I can't even find where that comment was. But somebody giving me an O Canada out there with Stuart Friesen. I'm going to do something you guys don't hear me do very often. That's go against Stuart Friesen. And I hate it. And I feel very sad about that. Yep. Boji Joe talking about freezing rod. Oh, Canada. Yeah. I'm not freezing over here right now. It's 100 and some odd degrees. So there's no freezing for me. He's in a matchup against Chase Purdy over there on Caesars. So Chase Purdy over Stuart Friesen at minus 115. And I understand that Chase Purdy has not been producing all that well lately, right? And even still, his average finish this season 17.6, where his average start is 11.5. But 2 of the last 3 races for Purdy have not been that bad, right? I mean, a couple 6th place finishes at Pocono, at Gateway, a 21st at Nashville, not very good, but he did have a 6th place finish at Darlington. Did Chase Purdy. Look back at what he did at Martinsville, right? 3rd place at Martinsville. Cody talked a lot about Martinsville being a favorable track, a track that you can sort of compare to this. Purdy is not still in a Toyota Boji. He is in a Chevrolet, that 77 Spire truck, which we know Spire is taking huge leaps and bounds up to the rest of the field. And we watch it happen all the time with these guys in the Spire trucks. So, but for Chase Purdy, like I said, Martinsville is a key indicator for me. That 3rd place finish, a couple of 6th place finishes at Gateway and Pocono, and then that 6th place at Darlington was also a pretty good sign. As for Stuart Friesen, my main man Stuart Friesen, he had a 7th place finish at Pocono and an 8th place at Gateway, which was fantastic for him. 2nd at Charlotte, but look at the short tracks. 19th at Martinsville for him. 14th. Darlington's not a short track, but it is not a full 1.5 mile cookie cutter type track. So struggling a little bit in these shorter tracks, only because I think for Stuart Friesen, he seems to get caught up in the bounce arounds, right? Like he'll get caught up in somebody else's mess quite a bit, and you'll see him get dinged or get taken out. Not always his fault, but when you are back with the squirrels more often than not, you're going to get your nuts cracked. So, Stuart Friesen finds himself back there through strategy, sometimes through speed. And he does end up getting tagged. Now, granted, he comes back and finishes for decent finishes still, but I think Chase Purdy's going to keep himself relatively clean. I think for the most part, when you look at what he did at Martinsville, like I said, that's an encouraging factor. He's got a couple of starts on this track as well. Last year in that 4 truck, he finished 14th. He finished 27th in the 61 truck, but can't we even necessarily take that into consideration? Stuart Friesen, on the other hand, he had a 4th place finish here in 2022, but he finished 30th last year on this track. So, if I'm flipping a coin, I'm going to take Chase Purdy and that Spire equipment. I just feel like he's been able to be a little more consistent on the tracks that matter when we compare it to this. So give me Chase Purdy over Stuart Friesen at minus 115.
Jessica was asking earlier, what's on your bingo card, Joe? I wonder if she had, I'm going to take Chase Purdy on her bingo card, because I did not, Rod. Purdy, actually, I looked at pretty hard for this race because I couldn't find a way that I like to get in on him. But I've got some thoughts on Friesen coming up. So I don't know that this matchup is necessarily as easy as you might think it is, but we'll see how it goes. Next up for me, Rod, I am going to stick with Christian Eckes. Top 3 plus 130. What? What? I don't know what we've been watching. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know why we're disrespecting Christian Eckes. He finished 2nd place here last season, Rod. So it's not like he's been bad here. He's got 3 top 3 finishes in a row. He's got 8 top 4 finishes this season. So he's constantly in the hunt for a top 3. He led 144 laps at Bristol. He led 133 laps at Martinsville, winning both of those. He led 62 laps at North Wilkesboro. I don't understand why this is plus money. It blows my mind for, again, when it's Hyman Eckes every single fucking week. Give me Christian Eckes top 3 at plus 130. Doesn't matter if he beats Corey Heim. Doesn't matter if he beats Ty Majeski. Doesn't matter. As long as he just finishes in the top 3, that's it. Something he's done 3 weeks in a row. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, for Eckes, you almost can't not take all of these if they're going to continue to give you good stat or give good odds on these, because this should be Max Verstappen-esque for both of these. For both Eckes and Heim, you should be seeing minus numbers on just about everything that's out there.
I did notice they moved the 10-19 bet down to like minus 130 or minus 140 this week. So they started to learn there. We got them enough on that one. But yeah, I don't know. It's not like he's bad on this type of track. I don't know. JDK coming in with a good point. Second place to the cheater last year. Ty Majeski did win this race last season. Then the next race out at Milwaukee, they busted him with the tire bleeder. Can we talk about Ty Majeski real quick, Rod?
Yeah, because
neither of us are betting on him. And maybe when we get to the fantasy portion at the end of this, maybe we play him there. Ty Majeski should be really good in this race. He's a very good short track racer. He won here last year. He's run well here. There's question marks, right? Because since he cheated, I don't think he's won again. So
not since he's cheated, no.
Should he be at plus 250, plus 275? I don't know. I'm still scared of him this week. And I noticed Boji Joe had mentioned in the comments a little bit ago, there was a matchup with him and Eckes. I'm a little bit scared on that one. And yeah, he just said it again. Piano Man minus 130 over Eckes. Eckes is plus 105. I'd rather just take the top 3 because I am scared of Majeski, because I think Majeski could do well. He could come out and win the race, and really he could dominate this race and win it. I think that's very much a possibility. Not at plus 275, not at plus 250. By the way, if you want to bet one of those, Caesars has Ford to win at plus 400. So you might as well just go take it that way. You're at least getting a better number. But I was hoping they'd sleep on him because he's just had a rough season. Things are not going well. But ever since they got busted last year. So I don't know. Neither of us are playing him because his numbers are just atrocious this week. But I did want to throw out there that don't be surprised if he just comes out and wins this race and he's really good, because, he's really the one other guy I think of the favorites could definitely do it. I mean, Hyman Eckes and then him. So, I don't know. Neither of us have any bets on him. And I think there's, because of the number, but it'll be interesting to see. I think this will be a good test, because if he doesn't look good this week, there's some serious problems over there. And how long were they bleeding tires for to make him look that good would be kind of interesting. I don't know. But that's the thoughts on Majeski.
Yep. Definitely don't have anything on him because of the numbers. You're absolutely right. So I don't know. It's insane. But I will say that Grant Enfinger, we're not waking you up yet, Boji Joe.
But you can stay asleep because we'll be waking you up soon.
We'll wake you up soon. I'm going to take Grant Enfinger. You talked about Sammy Smith being in this truck race now. So I'm going to take Grant Enfinger over Sammy Smith. This is minus 105, right? So this actually is it's actually almost even money, which I love, because when you talk about a guy like Enfinger, Sammy Smith is not really that heavy of a favorite, but you're getting some pretty decent money on a guy like Grant Enfinger. So I'll tell you right now that Sammy Smith in his 2 truck races has actually been okay. Right, he finished 8th at Martinsville and 5th at North Wilkesboro. So he's had a couple of good finishes on short track races over the course of the last few times he's been out. However, Grant Enfinger's actually been better in those situations. In the North Wilkesboro race, Grant Enfinger was the runner-up. So guess what? That definitely beats a 5th place finish out of Sammy Smith. And then you talk about, let's see, where else was he at? Martinsville. In Martinsville, it has a bad day for Grant Enfinger, 22nd. But again, when you talk about a full-time truck driver versus a guy who pops in every once in a while and does good things, that's fine. But even still, when you look at Grant Enfinger, the way he's been running lately too, that 2nd at North Wilkesboro, great. 3rd at Charlotte, 6th at Nashville, runner-up last week at Pocono. Sammy Smith driving the 7, that's all fine and well. And yeah, he's gotten you some top 10 finishes, but Grant Enfinger starting to catch fire at just the right time. We wrote him off in the middle of the season, right? Especially during Martinsville, that 22nd at Martinsville, that 29th at Texas, 12th at Kansas, 16th at Darlington. We were basically leaving him for dead. And then he goes and he rips off 4 top 10 finishes in 5 races. And even that, 3 of those were top 3 finishes. 2 of them are runner up. So Grant Enfinger is starting to hit his stride right now. And that 9 team picking up the pieces of what could have been a broken season. And for Sammy Smith, I mean, this is it. This is the last time he can come down and race in this series. So, right, I think, because, the next release, nobody can.
Yeah, are Xfinity guys still allowed to come down? I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Honest with you.
Well,
I can't
all
remember,
I know,
but either way.
Yeah. All I know is that even if it's not, like, I still don't see him making. I mean, he's gonna get you a top 10. Sammy Smith is gonna get you a top 10, but Grant Enfinger, I think, will be jockeying for a top 3 at the end of the day. So, give me Grant Enfinger over Sammy Smith at -105.
Absolutely in love with Grant Enfinger this week. I have much more thoughts on him. I also have some thoughts on Sammy Smith, but in this head-to-head, I would also take Grant Enfinger all day. Boji Joe wants to know why Sammy Smith is driving this truck. Does someone owe him a favor? It's a pay-to-play truck. I mean, there's not really a secret about that. So I'm sure he just has a sponsorship deal put together, and he's done it on short tracks this year. He seems to be a little better on those. He needs more time behind the wheel. I don't think that's a secret. So, hey, he paid to play, and he's there to play. He's not a bad driver. Shouldn't have ever been the favorite like he was before, but he's been solid in his couple of starts. So I'll talk about him a little bit more in a few. But Rod first. Oh, Canada. Okay, that's the extent of my singing. But Stuart Friesen, top 5.
Haven't we had enough butchered anthems lately? We don't need to butcher another one.
Oh, geez. That's too soon, Rod. Too soon.
Anyway,
Stuart Friesen, top 5, 9-1. Are you kidding me, Rod? 9-1. Cody, he finished 30th place last year. I don't care where he finished last year, Rod, because things were not going well for Stuart Friesen. Things were going horribly for Stuart Friesen. Things were going just straight up bad for Stuart Friesen at that point in time. Earlier this season, things were going. JDK says, hey, Ingrid, keep it down. Anyways, things were going bad for Stuart Friesen. Earlier this season, things were going bad for Stuart Friesen. Things have been going bad for Stuart Friesen for a while. We've been talking about it. But, Rod, you come back here in 2022, 4th place finish. That's the Stuart Friesen that I'm looking for. 5 races in a row. He's finished inside the top 11. Maybe we're over the bad luck. Maybe things are looking back up for Mr. Canada. Stuart Friesen can get a top 5. He can get it done with at 9-1. This number just blows my mind. I get last year's result was bad, but he just did it 2 seasons ago here. 2nd at Charlotte, 5th, 7th last week at Pocono. He's had some good runs here lately. I think they're starting to figure things out. Throwing away last year's result because of that. Give me Stuart Friesen top 5 at 9-1.
It's not that I don't want him to finish top 5. In fact, I think even if he does finish top 5 and Purdy finishes in 4th, like that would be ideal for us, because like I said, I know Purdy.
Even if Friesen gets a top 5 at 9-1, you're probably not going to care about your head.
No,
it's sort of a good hedge off of that. I mean, yeah, I don't, and I still like Purdy. Purdy is definitely interesting this week because he's been pretty good on the short tracks. And he's been running well lately too. So I don't know that you're completely wrong on that. I don't know if I want to lay -115 on Chase Purdy ever, but that's just a me thing.
Okay, I'm just saying it happens. But yeah, if you want to fade me, you can still get in on that and put your money on.
OG Joe's on Team Cody.
Yeah, he is, and that's fine. I don't mind. Well, this one you might want to fade too. Then close your ears because we're not talking about Lane Riggs.
Jack Wood.
Jack Wood. No, we're not.
Nick Fortune checking in. Good morning. Good afternoon, Hot Rod and Sir Cody. I've still been knighted. Is it Jack Wood betting time? Jack Wood is in this race. We've now mentioned him, so that's good.
That is his couple of. We've already went over our quota on Jack Wood mentions, but all right, I'm going with the old guy. One more. Crafton top 5. I know there was a top 4 bet out there, but at top 5, 15-1 over on Bet365 from Crafton B, a top 5 truck. I will point to one race in particular and just rest my case. No, I'm just kidding. I won't. But I'll say that, look, he has one top 5 finish on a short track this season. That is Bristol. But the dude has loads of, he's 13 starts on this track in this configuration. That dude, that more starts on this one track than some drivers have in their entire truck career right now. So I'm definitely high on this. Talk about what he's finished inside the top 5 in 2008, in 2010. So 2008, 4th place finish, 2010, a 3rd place finish, a couple of 6th place finishes, and then a couple of 9th place finishes. So a 6th place finish in 2011 and 2 9th place finishes in 22 and 23. Humming around that top 5 area for Matt Craft in the last couple of races, in particular, the more recent of the two in that 88 truck. But if there's one team, if there's one driver that can just peek his head out from underneath the rock that he's been living under for the most part and pop out a top 5, that's Matt Crafton. And just like Boji Joe had said about the top Ford thing, I mean, look, we know that Matt Crafton is a good driver. We know that those ThorSport trucks are good trucks. It's just, you know, when you're still hanging on and you're playing around with the kids, it's very difficult sometimes to get that old back and chase after them when they go on the teeter-totter or whatever kids do nowadays. I think they don't even play on the playground anymore, but you get my drift. Like if I'm the old man running around trying to keep up with my grandkids, it's tough, but he's done a decent enough job, right? 8th place at Pocono last week. He did have a 10th at Kansas, right? That 4th at Bristol, 7th at Vegas, 7th at Daytona. He'll pop his head up every once in a while. And I think this is a track that the experience will speak for it. And he's in good enough equipment to get yet another top 5 finish. And honestly, Cody, 15-1, right? Says record player Rod. That thing right there, that green thing, that record player back there, that's my record player, kids. I got my vinyls underneath it. So don't call me out on this nonsense. I've got you covered, my friends. But yeah, 15-1 just seems like an obscene number for a guy that can get this done and has done it here before.
By the way, it's the TSport 200 or 250 or whatever. That ThorSport, TSport, it's the thing. So the team is actually sponsoring this race. Probably why Ty Majeski was bleeding his tires last year. I think we scared them last week, Rod, because there is no top Fords available this week because they knew we were going to fuck them up with Matt Crafton and Lane Riggs. It was the issue there. So top Chevy, the only thing that is available for manufacturer right now that I'm seeing at least, give me Chevrolet top Chevy. What the fuck are we doing, Rod? Christian Eck is plus 200 to be the top Chevy? You're telling me Corey Heim can beat him? You're telling me Ty Majeski can beat him and you could still get him at plus 200? You're going to have the top 3 already, right? So we're going to car lift this. We're taking the top 3 because we think he's going to finish in the top 3. You take the plus 200 as well because if he finishes in the top 3, good chance he's the top Chevy as well. Also, he maybe doesn't even have to finish in the top 3 to be the top finishing Chevy. So give me Christian Eckes to be the top finishing Chevy. Then, Rod, other guys you got in here. Nick Sanchez doesn't scare me as much on a short track. Ross Chastain, maybe-ish, right? We know he's going to hang around. I know you're going to make a case for him in a bit. He could have to start at the back if he doesn't make the qualifying, all those things. Then you get down to Grant Enfinger, plus 650. Yes, please sign me up. The other names, Sammy Smith, Roger Crew, Tyler Ankrum, Daniel Dye, Chase Purdy. I'm not as concerned about those guys. Give me Grant Enfinger, though, at plus 650 for top Chevrolet as well. So you're going with Eckes, you're going with Enfinger. Now you've got the 2 best Chevys in this field on this track, cornered and good. I talked about Eckes earlier. Same points, go there. Grant Enfinger, 2nd place last week, top 3 in 3 of the last 5 races. They figured it out finally, Rod. It was a new team. They needed to make some adjustments. They needed to figure things out. They figured it out. Now you're coming to a track where he's good. He won here in 2022, dominating fashion. 2nd place in North Wilkesboro. Last time we were out on the most comparable track to this. Absolutely Grant Enfinger this week being disrespected. Give me Eckes top Chevy at 2-1. Enfinger top Chevy at plus 650. JDK says he's been in and out. Any mention of Crafton top 5 at 15-1. That was Rod's last bet, actually. So, yes, make sure you get in on that.
Hit rewind. I know that it's hard when we talk about record players and bad anthems, but we're fine. And look, for those of you who want the graphic at the end of it, that'll be back. Spoiler alert, we have a graphic for this one. So hang tight with us till the end. And
who's the mustache?
I actually don't know who's.
Grant Enfinger.
Is it
right?
Enfinger?
No. I don't know. Tell us who the mustache is, but
you got
I'm not sure.
the evil guy. All right, listen. I don't know that I like this one as much as I did when I put it in the dock, only because really, if you're thinking about it, you might as well just put money on all the bets. In my defense, there hasn't been a whole lot to put money on. So I'm just going to give this out. You can actually double dip with this if Heim actually ends up winning and you put money on Heim, because for Heim to win, I'm sorry, Cody, what was the number? It was like plus 180.
90.
Yeah. So you might as well just do this. Toyota winning manufacturer at plus 155, just in case Stuart Friesen wakes up and wins this race, which we're putting him in the top 5, right? That could happen. Dean Thompson. There we go. Toyota driving.
He's the mustache.
Oh,
and he also is a Toyota. So
he also is a Toyota. So if he wins this, then he cashes your bet. If Sawalich in that one truck decides to accidentally win that race, that's another one too. And then if Taylor gets his first win and you're not brave enough to put an outright on Taylor, then because I wanted to bring Taylor into this mix, right? I wanted to bring him somewhere in, maybe as a top 5, maybe as a, but I could not pull the trigger. His outright number is juicy, but I'm not brave enough to say he's going to win this race. He probably will do well. He's done well in the last few short tracks, right? Top 10s in a lot of them. But I just couldn't pull the trigger. So at plus 155, I'm going to throw a blanket over all the Toyotas and say that if Heim wins, you're only losing 40 points. But if somebody else in that Toyota camp ends up winning, then you're good and you're covered. But yeah, the only reason I picked this one more than anything is because I was running out of things to take. So I figured I think
you skipped over Chevy at plus 110. I could see how we could make those mistakes, Rod.
Well, but Chevy at 110, like you might as well just go ahead and bet on the Chevys that you think are going to win.
Okay, I will do that actually.
I was going to say, and you're going to give them out. So, and I'm going to get.
I got 3 outrights, and they're all Chevys. A little spoiler alert for you. So, and Rod's is a Chevy as well. So it is a good way to hedge and cover yourself with Corey Heim. So you can't argue with Corey Heim ever. I know I made a case against him earlier, but it's not a strong case. I'm a bad lawyer. It's a very flimsy case. It's a just in case the jury's not paying attention case, and we'll hope that we get lucky there. So back to the question of
wake up.
We'll wake up here in a second. But back to the Dean Thompson question. Will he be good here? Dean Thompson, if I could bet on him to wreck this week, I would bet on it. I like betting on him the big tracks where there's more room. And you saw it last week at Pocono. Every restart, like blue 5 truck, way down to the inside, trying to pass a bunch of cars all at once. Works at Pocono. It's beautiful there. And he almost cashed another bet for us. But short tracks, not good. He wrecks every single fucking time. 23rd at Bristol, 33rd at Martinsville, 27th at North Wilkesboro. Just not good finishes from Dean Thompson on the short track. So I would stay away from him to answer your question there. So, all right, time to wake up, Boji Joe. Lane Riggs time. I got to say, Rod, I was hoping for a bigger number than this, but a plus 275, I am going to take it anyways. Give me Lane Riggs for a top 5. This is where Lane Riggs should be good. This is where Lane Riggs is good. 2 starts here. His very first career start 2 seasons ago in 22, 7th place finish, 3rd place finish last year at the same track. It's been a fucking rough season for Lane Riggs. We had high expectations. That 38 truck not been good, and really has very few finishes inside the top 15. But the finishes he does have inside the top 15, 15th at Martinsville, 10th at Bristol, 5th at Gateway. Even it's not super comparable, but I'll toss it out there because it was a good finish. That was really the only other one. And 3rd place at North Wilkesboro, the most comparable track, the most recent short track we've been on. That's the Lane Riggs that I hope shows up. That's the Lane Riggs I want to see. That's the Lane Riggs I'm going to be rooting for. Top 5 at plus 275. I was hoping for 4-1, to be honest with you. If maybe he doesn't practice or qualify well, maybe the number gets bigger. I'd be more interested there. But, give me Lane Riggs top 5 at plus 275 because this is the type of track where Lane Riggs should be really good. Boji Joe wants to know, Zane Smith was 5th in this race last year. I don't know that Todd Gilliland ever drove it here because I think we weren't coming to IRP during that time. But Zane Smith was 3rd in the 38 truck in 2022 to answer your question. So the truck has been good here, and the driver's been good here as well.
Indeed. Well, if we want to talk about how well the truck has done this season altogether, I'll tell you that Lane Riggs is the only one that's driven this truck. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. All right. So my next bet is going to be Another car number bet. Hooray for car number bets. Until books get more creative, we're going to keep hammering
Except
this.
you got the wrong side of it, but that's okay.
No, I think I have the correct side of this one.
Yeah.
Under 15.5, minus 110 for the under 15.5. Under 15.5 gets you all kinds of crazy stuff. It gets you
Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski. Oh, wait.
No,
sorry,
it doesn't get you
side.
either one of those. It gets you Corey Heim, it gets you Grant Enfinger, it gets you Sammy Smith if if accidentally Sammy Smith wins this one. It gets you Dean Thompson, hooray! But it gets you Nick Sanchez, who I wanted to be brave enough to say again this week, but did not do it instead. And it also gets you William Sawalich. Honestly, this is yet another way to just get in on Heim and try to figure out how to. Because I mean, look, if Heim doesn't win this one and Grant Enfinger accidentally wins this one, and you don't have Grant Enfinger on your card, and you're a little bit sad about that, even though somebody may end up mentioning his name. Yeah, I don't know. Load up on the under for this one at minus 110, and either one, I don't care. I mean, the over part of it's not even that good, anyways. So
yeah, I don't know what the number for over is, but I think I like the over better. But I don't know. It's a weird number. I couldn't really find, and like I don't like the. Every week I've been on the 10 to 19 thing because you get Heim and you get Eckes. I still like that, but fucking Majeski makes me not want to take that bet as much as I hate not taking a bet because of him. I'm going to be happy when that piano does fall out of the sky and we didn't have him, but it might not, and that's what scares me. So Jessica wants to know if it is Heim time, Rod. Should we get to the outrights?
I think we should get to the outrights, yes.
It is not Heim time.
No.
It is Christian Eckes time. 5-1 on Superbook. Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck are we? What are we doing, Rod? What are we doing? 5-1? He's been top 3 races in a row. He won at Bristol. He won at Martinsville. He led a bunch of laps at North Wilkesboro. 8 times he's been inside the top 4. What are we doing? What are we doing? Christian Eckes at 5-1. This is absolutely just fucking ridiculous. Go get this now. There's no way this number lasts. Go take it. Bet it now. He's plus 450 some other places. If you don't have Superbook, it's fine. I'd take him at either of those numbers. I'd take him 4-1 even. So yeah, just do it. JDK wants to know if there's been any Enfinger love that he missed. So far, Rod, you gave him out over Sammy Smith. And I gave him out as the top Chevy at plus 650. I'm also giving him out as a winner, 16-1. For Grant Enfinger, who I just got done talking about. He's coming off a second place finish last year. He won this race 2 years ago. They're getting things figured out. They've been doing it great here lately, Rod. Top 3 in 3 of the last 5 races. Second place in North Wilkesboro. Most recent short track we've been at, the most comparable short track we've been to. He got it done. Give me a 16-1 for Grant Enfinger. What a fucking joke this is. They figured it out. He's going to show up. He's going to be fast. He's going to be good. I wouldn't be surprised if Grant Enfinger leads this entire race. He's another guy that could get it done, should not be this big of a number. And then, Rod, I don't feel great about this one. But Sammy Smith at 16-1, I think that the number is correct. We saw him earlier this season, right? He was a favorite for some reason going into those couple of races that he raced in, and it was like, what the hell are we doing? We faded him in some head-to-heads. That kind of worked out pretty good for us. His 2 starts were Martinsville, 8th place, North Wilkesboro, 5th place. So he was, he didn't lead any laps, wasn't overly impressive in them, but he's a little bit more of a veteran driver, right? He's an Xfinity regular. He's in a good truck in the 7 truck. I think at 16-1, you're probably going to need some help. There might need to be some chaos. Eckes has a problem. Majeski has a problem. Heim has a problem. Maybe Sammy Smith is just going to be in the right place at the right time to get it done. I think the number's too big for the talent and the driver that's in it at 16-1. And to be honest, I couldn't find any other outrights that I liked, but I debated even putting him on here, but I think the number is just good enough to have a little insurance in case things get crazy. So give me Sammy Smith at 16-1, Grant Enfinger at 16-1, Christian Eckes at 5-1.
I'm going to throw one more 16-1 on that one, and I'm going to take Ross Chastain. This is it for Ross. This is the last time he can start. He's already won. He won at Darlington. He finished 5th at Pocono. He started 3rd at North Wilkesboro, right? And unfortunately, it just kind of Ross Chastained it up in that, finished 15th, but 5th in Austin as well. It's Ross Chastain. He can sneak up and do good things on this track. He even got a 10th place finish last season in a 66 truck, right? In that in that 66 truck, you got a 10th place finish. So if he can pilot that truck to a 10th place finish, we've already seen him win already once. This will be his last opportunity to do it. I think 16-1 is really where, that's why I'm intrigued at this one. You know, you got Ross Chastain at 16-1 anywhere in the world. That's a really good number. So take him here. Bet365 has the best number on Ross Chastain. So, yeah, I mean, there's really not much more you can say about Ross Chastain.
Boji Joe says he's still better from Darlington. I'm not, because I had Chastain that day, but for the same reason, right? The number's big enough on a guy who's talented, who's good, is in a good truck, and should be hanging around, right? He might need some chaos, like we got at Darlington, for him to win the race, but it worked out. The number's big enough here. You do have that little bit of a sliver of maybe he doesn't get to qualify the truck, has to start last. It's not going to be easy for him to get up there, but it's still possible. I don't know that he just straight up beats Majeski and Enfinger and Eckes and Heim, but I think he can be hanging around up there. Crazy shit happens. Maybe they play the strategy right, whatever the case is. I think that he could get it done. And I think the number's big enough that it definitely makes you want to go ahead and get in on it, because he's the only Cup Series in the field, and he's in a good truck. Like, these niche trucks are not bad trucks by any means. 16-1 is crazy. And yeah, Boji Joe starting from the rear. So if he misses qualifying, right, and that's the thing with him and Ty Dillon, the Cup Series qualifying's at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or practice rather, on Friday. And there's going to short window from getting done with practice and getting out of there to get over to IRP to practice and qualify the trucks. So both teams have drivers on standby. You know, if Cup Series practice gets pushed back, there's rain, whatever the case may be, they could potentially miss the deal. Hopefully it's not a Boeing helicopter, he says. So if they do miss qualifying, they'll have other drivers qualify the trucks. No matter where those guys qualify the trucks, which they have to do for the truck to race, they'll have to start the back because it'll be considered a driver change. So just, want that in your mind. Don't be upset when it's like, fuck, Chastain's going to the back. Like, we should have maybe been prepared that was a possibility because of the circumstances of the oddness of being in the same city, different tracks, same times, all the weird shit.
Yeah, so keep an eye out on that, even though I still think that no matter where he starts, strategy could put him right in the mix. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Old-fashioned football. Hey there, buddies. What's up, Justin?
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, make sure you go check out the CFL Gambling Podcast. I was on there.
Our guy Walter checking in too. Said I'm ready for vacation. Fired up. I get fired up when Christian Eckes, like, why is he so fucking disrespected this week, Rod? It blows my mind. He's like coming off a bad finish. Like, I do not get it. And he's been good on this track. He's been good on the short tracks. Makes no sense. So, I don't know. Boji Joe wants Swalich is interesting. No love. Looked at him. We had this conversation in the Discord. JDK brought him up. He's finished 6th here last season, I think it was. So good run. But he's not done well in any of his starts this season. That one truck seemingly has maybe fallen off a little bit as the season's kind of gone on. I don't know. So none of the numbers were really right to get in on Swalich. I definitely looked at him, especially because of that 6th place finish last year, but not really a way that I wanted to get in on him, especially like, man, I feel like this should be such a chalky race, and I think it's going to be your Heim, your Eckes, your Majeski, your Enfinger. Like, I think those 4 guys should be way above everyone else, and then you're going to be, struggling to get another guy in that top 5.
Yep. It's been chalk for the last few weeks. I don't see why that's going to change at all. So speaking of chalk, get it out and your chalkboard. It is now time to go over our bets for this TSport 200 from the IRP. Cody started you out with Christian Eckes over Corey Heim at plus 150. I added Chase Purdy over Stuart Friesen at minus 115. Cody gave you Christian Eckes as a top 3 car at plus 130. I said that Grant Enfinger would finish better than Sammy Smith at minus 105. Cody gave you Stuart Friesen as a top 5 truck at plus 900. I said Matt Crafton would be a top 5 truck at 15-1. And then Cody gave you Eckes as the top Chevy at 2-1. Enfinger as the top Chevy at plus 650. I said that Toyota would be the winning manufacturer at plus 155. Cody gave you Lane Riggs as a top 5 car at truck at plus 275. I said that winning truck number would come underneath 15.5 at minus 115. And then Cody gave you Christian Eckes at, 5-1 over on Superbook And then he added 2 more. If anybody wonders why the graphic stopped being a thing, it's because of this. Because I make the graphic and then stuff changes. No, I'm just kidding. And then he added Grant Enfinger at 16-1 and Sammy Smith at 16-1 to win this race. I said Ross Chastain at 16-1 would win this TSport 200 short track race in Indy. All right, Cody, it is time to get to one of my favorite parts of this.
Oh, I almost forgot, Rod.
That is the fantasy picks.
That is the fantasy picks. Let me get it pulled up here. We did look at the score on the recap show earlier this week. Once again, we beat our friends over on the NASCAR betting preview show. Phil texted me this morning, by the way. Let me pull that up. He texted me because they recorded their show last night. I don't think it's out yet, but they recorded last night. And he found a matchup which I liked. I didn't give it out here, but I do agree with him. He said that Bet365 had Friesen over Sauter at -115. Oh, I love that.
I didn't even see that one.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe it's gone. They might have already cannoned it. Who knows? But
yeah, they probably.
I would definitely take the Friesen side of that thing.
Yeah.
Sauter, couple starts this year, they haven't been super impressive, and that 16 truck we haven't seen start at all. I mean, yeah, it was the championship truck a few years ago, but that team's kind of fallen apart. So, all right, let's see here, Rod. We need to pick an A driver. Ty Majeski, I would almost guarantee that the NASCAR betting preview show plays Majeski.
Oh yeah,
because they know how much we hate him and they do like him a little bit, and it's a short track. Do we go with Majeski or play defense on them, or do we hope the piano falls, Rod, and go with Christian Eckes, who we still have 7 starts left on?
Oh Jesus! If we got 7 starts with Eckes,
well, here's the thing:
left.
Yeah, we've got 5 starts with Heim, and we've got 7 starts with Eckes, and there's only 12 races left. By the way, 7 + 5, if my math is correct, makes 12. So we can just play the 2 of them the rest of the season and try to defend this lead. So I think we go with Eckes this week. B drivers, we need 2 B drivers. Options are Brett Holmes, Daniel Dye, Dean Thompson, Grant Enfinger, Lawless Allen, Lane Riggs. Okay, so Enfinger is in for sure. Lawless Allen, Lane Riggs. I would almost guarantee they play him.
Yep.
Matt Mills, Stuart Friesen, both Gray brothers, Timmy Hill, Ty Dillon, and Tyler Ankrum.
Do we get cute and put Friesen in there? We have room to play with.
Yeah, and see, like, this is where we can play with it and maybe hit big, because if Stuart Friesen top 5 hits and they play Lane Riggs and he doesn't show up, then boom, there goes our fucking lead even bigger, right? So I like it. I like that strategy. So Enfinger, Friesen for that section. And then the C drivers, Rod, we're down to 3 starts left on Raja, so we might want to play somebody else. Sawalich, 8 starts. This could be the place where we play Sawalich. Thad Moffitt, Spencer Boyd, Marco Andretti, Johnny Sauter, Jack Wood, Bailey Curry. Like, this is just, it's such a shitty group selection, and there's hardly any drivers in it. I think you play Sawalich. I think they'll play Sawalich.
Yeah.
Because you know, he's only making limited amount of starts. We got plenty of starts left with him. We only have 3 Carew starts left. I want to save those for bigger tracks. So Boji Joe, he was screaming in the thing, Eckes, and then 7 starts and you're beating them. That is correct.
Yeah. We'll go Sawalich.
Yeah. So, and he wanted to know why Butterbean was not in the number 1 truck this week. I think it's probably, again, a funding issue. Like, it's a pay for play truck. We know that. And I believe he's the one who, like, funded that entire North Wilkesboro thing all by himself, basically. Like, didn't really have a ton of partners, like, just poured his money into it. And he had a great day, but that stuff's not cheap. So, yeah. But to recap, Christian Eckes, Grant Enfinger, Stuart Friesen, William Sawalich. That's our fantasy lineup. Make sure you go over to the NASCAR betting preview show, listen to Derek and Phil as they do their picks. And they'll do the same thing at the end, and they'll try to decide who we're going to play. We're trying to decide who they're going to play. It's a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun. And again, if you listen to their show, it's more trucks. So everybody needs to go listen to them. We should not be the only ones you listen to, because the more you know and the other opinions that you get, the better you're going to be, right? So yeah, sponsor the dude. Hey, listen, we've already talked about this. We want to get a GoFundMe together to sponsor some unsponsored cars.
Old Fashioned Football's in the chat. We'll get them to be on the back of the truck we could be on the front of the truck. Boom.
See?
There you go.
All good. All right. That's it for the trucks, ladies and gentlemen. We will go ahead and let you guys go for the rest of the day to have some fun and enjoy the rest of your Thursday or Friday whenever you listen to this. I'll tell you when to partake, but yeah, let's go fill those cards out and get ready for a beautiful Friday night truck race. And in the meantime, Cody, as you prepare for your vacation, let everyone know where they can find you.
Boji Joe says, great show, and thank you. Thank you, Boji Joe. We appreciate it. Thanks for all the interaction from all of you. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, short track, Friday night, under the lights, truck series. Let's fucking go, baby. Christian Eckes time. Get her done. Follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Lots and lots of stuff over there. You can find it all there. Give us a follow over on the YouTube. Go click on the YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. You can get your questions in as well. And yeah, back tomorrow with some DFS stuff. See you then.
See you then, indeed. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio to everything else I've got going on. Go check out the Arena Football League stuff. It is the Arena Bowl this weekend, tomorrow to be exact. And we're going to have a good time breaking all that down, talk to coaches, talk to players, and getting ready for that game as well. All right. We'll see you tomorrow, like Cody said, with our DFS show. Thanks to everybody in the chat. We love you guys keeping it fresh for us and just having a good time. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, let's go racing. Happy birthday, baby, and let it ride.